What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Movie Dive. I hope everyone's been having a great holiday season. Today, we're going to be doing our top 7 best films of 2024. Of course, this is just opinions, so if you disagree, definitely let us know in the comments. There's a lot of good films this year. It's been tough to fit them all in, so let's just dive in and talk about it now. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Movie Dive. Today we're diving into our top 7 favorite films of 2024. So I will say some of these films I don't think belong on this list, but this year there was a writer's strike. So a lot of these movies that I did, of course, wouldn't normally be on a best of list most years, but they're still pretty enjoyable. However, I am excited to dive into these. Again, I said before, when you watch a movie, there's recency bias. And so your ratings might be higher on certain ones, but at the end of the year, you might revisit a film and be like, I actually like that more than I thought I did the first time around. So if something's higher than you expected it to be. So of course, there's a lot of movies that come out in December. So there's some movies that we don't get a chance to see. So if you want to mention some yourself that you were not able to see, I know I was able to see more than you did.
Just to mention a couple, I didn't get to see Nosferatu, which just came out on Christmas. I have a 2-year-old. I didn't get to see Sing Sing. A24 listed it as a 2023 remake, and it's not going to get a broad release until 2025. This is more of a plea to A24 to sort out your release schedule. The movie I'm desperate to see, and I will sell a kidney to be able to see it if I could right now, is The Brutalist. Those are a couple that I didn't get to see.
Yeah, a couple I didn't get to see. Brutalist is my number one. Nickel Boys is the other one. But yeah, those are some of the movies I did not get a chance to see. I'm sure there's more. I just can't really think of them now. But yeah, we can get started. I'm going to go ahead and give my 7th favorite film of the year. So coming in at my 7th favorite film of the year, this was a massive surprise to me. Probably my biggest surprise of the year is Smile 2. This was a pretty terrific horror movie, I would say. What's her, Naomi Scott is her name. I think she'll never get a Academy Award nomination, but she should. She does such a good job acting in this film, but these kind of roles will always get overlooked. If it wasn't for her performance, a lot of this stuff could have been considered very cheesy. Now, a lot of the film had moments that could have been cheesy, but it was directed so well that it turned out to be quite creepy, and it does a really good job at making you have the anxiety of not knowing what's real and what's fake. So I think that psychological aspect of it made the film a lot better than I was expecting it to be. So my number 7 for favorite of the year is Smile 2.
My number 7 is Rebel Ridge. So this is a really cool straight to streaming, and I could see this being like a really strong performer like in the 90s box office. So this is Jeremy Saulnier's next movie, the story about corruption in a small town. There's a lot of tension, and you think it's going to go one like dramatic and violent way, but it stays grounded. I think the writing is excellent in this. So yeah, number 7 is Rebel Ridge.
So then coming in at my number 6, my favorite animated film of the year, that's going to be Flow. Came out kind of recently. This comes from a small country next to Russia, I guess. Never even heard of this country. It's called Latvia or something like that.
You've never heard of Latvia?
No. So this movie comes out of Latvia, and it is gorgeous to look at. What's very interesting about the animation style of this movie is there's certain animals that they don't fully render, but then they fully render the background. So it has a really different style of animation. And to its core, it's just a beautiful story about surviving and helping others. And I do highly recommend a lot of people to check it out. My favorite number 6 film of the year is Flow.
My number 6 is Conclave. So this is a great little tight chamber drama about the papal election starring Ralph Fiennes. Beautifully directed, like a very painterly cinematography, just helps it to breathe. A really engaging, solid 2-hour watch. My number 6, Conclave.
So coming in at number 5 is going to be Long Legs. I really enjoyed this thriller. Some of the ending is not as strong as the first 3/4 of the film, but I was fully invested in this world. I think it was really cool to go back to a 90s style thriller, and it's done really well. I do give it props because I think it had the best marketing and trailers of the whole year. So my number 5 is Long Legs. I do want to revisit it very soon.
My number 5 is Alien Romulus. We've talked a number of times about my love for the original Alien movie. I really don't like Aliens, which was the James Cameron follow-up. But this movie's like sandwiched right in between. I feel like it really encapsulates the horror elements from a practical effects standpoint, directing standpoint. Really happy with this one. So yeah, my number 5 is Alien Romulus.
Coming in at number 4, this one might easily go higher up in the rankings later on. I'm not sure. I just saw it. That's Nosferatu. Of course, coming from Robert Eggers. Very good with the whole atmosphere. I'm still trying to figure out if I loved the story as much as other people did. I think I did, but I do want to do a rewatch on this film. However, Lily Rose Depp is absolutely amazing in this movie. Bill Skarsgård, I mean, you don't even recognize him in this movie. And yeah, so I think the best part about this movie is the atmosphere and how we really recreated 1800s Germany. So my number 4 is going to be Nosferatu. Nosferatu, which again might easily move up the list as I watch it again or down.
My number 4 is I Saw the TV Glow, little movie from James Schönbrunn. This was one of the more under-marketed, under-seen. I just thought it was really captivating. A lot of people have like compared this to a lot of David Lynch movies. Definitely don't watch it alone. Kind of depressing.
All right, so coming in at number 3, I can't believe this is at number 3, but it doesn't matter because every single time I get on a plane, I put it on because I love it that much, and that is Twisters. Don't care that it's this high on the list. I've realized that ever since it came out, I am rewatching this movie a bunch of times, and it's probably one in the future I'm going to watch more than anything else on this list. Sure, it's cheesy, sure, it's corny, but like in the perfect amount of cheese and corny. Has an amazing country soundtrack, and I think it did really well because it is filmed on location. Number 3 is going to be Twisters.
My number 3 is Challenges. So I know this is controversial to you. I know you weren't as high on this as I was. I wasn't as high on it the first time around, but then I watched it again. I was just like taken in, not by Zendaya. Josh O'Connor just like owns every scene he's in. I think he's excellent. Luca's language in terms of like his cinematic language of how he presents his ideas, how he uses space in the frame. It's such a sweaty little movie. It's just a really enjoyable, solid movie all the way through. So my number 3 is Challenges.
Yeah, I wonder if there's more sexual tension in Challengers or Nosferatu.
Oh, that's a fun whole reel.
Coming in at number 2, I was really battling between number 2 and number 1 on this list, but that's going to be Sing Sing, which I just recently saw. So hopefully there's not recency bias, but it doesn't matter because this movie just absolutely wrecked me emotionally. And I like that it wrecked me emotionally in a beautiful way, not in like a, oh, this is depressing, sad. It was not the typical jail movie or prison movie where things happen dramatically, like people get stabbed and shanked and someone dies in the middle of the movie that way. It's not over dramatic. It only focuses on these people and the good side of these people and what they're doing to make themselves better. And I did not know until the end of the movie that a lot of the cast is actually in prison or was in prison and did this program in real life. And I was like, damn, I think Domingo should win the Academy Award for Best Actor of the Year.
My number 2 is Civil War. I'm a huge Alex Garland fan, like from his days of writing with Danny Boyle for 28 Days Later, all the way through, Ex Machina, Annihilation. I think that a lot of the discourse around this movie kind of suffered from the marketing. Like some people thought it was going to be like an action movie. Some people thought it was going to be like this big like fable about America shifts right. What it really is it's a mirror on what happens when things go wrong in the human heart. And it's not a matter of what side you're on. It's about a matter of how you respond to adversity. So again, Kaylee Spaney, incredible. Kirsten Dunst, I think she's been overlooked for an Oscar nomination there. I think she was incredible. This has just aged really well for me. So my number 2 is Civil War.
So before we get to number 1, we'll do our honorable mentions. There's more honorable mentions for me than there was in the least favorite category. Really close to getting in was A Quiet Place Day 1. Wicked almost made it in there. Civil War almost made it in there. Anora almost made it in there. Oddity almost made it in. Fall Guy almost made it in. So those are my honorable mentions.
My honorable mentions, Wicked for the last 20 minutes, Twisters, and then Kneecap. It's on Netflix. Check it out. But that was a really fun one. That was Kneecap.
So we can get into our number 1 favorite film of the year. For me, it's going to be pretty obvious. My favorite film of the year is the Real Madrid documentary of Champions League. So coming in at number 1, I think both of ours is going to be exactly the same, and that is going to be Dune 2. And I knew when it came out in March, I was like, this is going to be my favorite movie of the year. This is at least the best cinematography of the decade. You can frame a lot of shots and put it on your wall. Timothée Chalamet is really growing as an actor in front of our eyes. I'm really excited to see where Dune Messiah goes in the future. So my number 1 is, Dune Part 2.
Same as me. I think that Denis Villeneuve is the best director working right now. If he can pull off a Dune adaptation as well as this, you can trust him with anything. There's so much going on under the surface of Dune. You can think of it from like an ecological perspective as well. I was just completely blown away. This is one of the best movie-going experiences I've seen in IMAX ever. Every time I watch it, I'm just so exhilarated to be back on that planet and in that plot. As soon as I saw it, I was like, this is going to be number 1, and it's going to be very hard to beat. So Dune Part 2.
Don't forget that later this week, we're also going to have a video coming out that is ranking every single thing that I have seen from the whole year, including movies, TV shows, made for TV movies, and all of the above. So don't forget to subscribe, guys. We'll see you next time on The Movie Dive.